Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about the final lesson in our How to Play Bukharo series, and that is how to add up points and calculate final scores. Now, this is not a required lesson. If you've been able to watch through lessons 1 through 11, that's really what you need to know in order to play the game. This is more of an extension of lesson 5, which was scoring, and I just want to give a practical example of how you would go about adding up points and final scores at the end of the game when the last player has finished. Okay, so back in lesson 2, we mentioned that the player or team with the highest score at the end of the game is the winner. Now, to calculate your total score, you do the following. You take the value of the sets and runs you have played, add it to the bonuses generated by those sets and runs, and then subtract it from the cards remaining in your hand at the end of the game. By using all three of these metrics, you are conducting a type of scoring known as long form scoring. Okay, so now let's go into a practical example. I'm going to use the same sets and runs played in this, I guess you could say, the simulated game that we've been talking about through these entire lessons. So jumping into player one has 6 cards remaining in hand. They've made 2 runs, and none of them reach the requirement to get bonuses. Additionally, player one did not collect Bukharo or finish the game, so they did not collect any bonus points. Now, going back to lesson 5, scoring is basically any cards from 3 through 7 are 5 points, 8 through king and the 2 are 10 points, and the ace is 15 points. So based on that, the cards that player 1 played, the ace through jack gave them a total of 45 points, while the 5, 4, and 3 of spades gave a total of 15 points. So player 1 collected 60 points by playing cards. No bonuses were made, and the 6 cards in hand added up to 50 points. So in total, player 1 has collected 60 plus 0 minus 50, which is 10 points. So not a great score for player 1. Moving on to player 2 did a little bit better. Player 2 not only collected Bukharo, but they were able to create four runs, and one of those runs created an unnatural run bonus. So looking at the total cards they've played, where we just add up those points, player 2 collected 215 points. Now, of those 215 points, 100 of those points were added into as a or sorry, not of those 215 points. In addition to those 215 points, 100 points were provided as a unnatural 7 to 13 card run, and another 50 points were added because player 2 collected Bukharo. Remaining cards in hand, 5 cards, but they didn't add up to a significant amount of penalty for player 2, only 30 points. So player two's total score is 215 plus 100 minus 30 is 285 points. Okay, moving on to player 3. Player 3 collected a 50-point bonus for finishing the game. The other advantage of that is that they have no cards left in their hand, so there are 0 points taken away for player 3 in that particular metric. So the total cards that player 3 played, they collected 155 points for that. In addition, the 10 through 4 made an unnatural 7 to 13 card run, and they finished the game. So they got a 150-point bonus for that, and 0 points were taken away because they finished the game, and so they had no cards left in hand. So the total points for player 3 came out to be 305, just edging above player 2 for the highest score so far. Moving on to player 4. Player 4 did make several runs. Unfortunately, none of them reached the bonus. So if we add up player 4's total score, they made 160 points just for playing the cards that they played. Unfortunately, the ace through 9 is only 6 cards, so they never really got to that 7 card threshold to make in what would have been for them natural runs. So they didn't collect any bonuses. Also, they did not finish or collect Bukharo. Now, the remaining cards that player 4 had in hand, they had about 60 points worth of cards, so their total score is 160 plus 0 minus 60 is 100 points. Based on those scores, we can look at the table here and determine that player 3 is the winner. So in this simulated game, congratulations player 3, you've narrowly defeated player 2 to win our tutorial game of Bukharo. So yay, congratulations. That was me clapping, by the way. Okay, so that is how long form scoring is done. However, there's another type of scoring for those of you who play a lot and just don't really care to add up the scores and figure out who exactly won the game, because it does take a little bit of time. And if you're just enjoying playing and you're not trying to be competitive, there's no reason to go into all this effort. So what we do is we have another form of scoring, which is called short form scoring, in which we only add the bonus points scored by each player. We don't take into account the cards they have in their hand, and we don't penalize them for the cards remaining in their hand at the end of the game. So now it's a little bit faster to add up the final scores, but it's not as accurate. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to show you what the scores are for the four players if we were only going to conduct short form scoring. Also, just for those of you who are using the app, the Play Bukharo app uses long form scoring to calculate the scores at the end of the game. The other nice thing about the app is it's always tracking the scores throughout the game, so it's not like you have to do any of this work at all. So it kind of saves you the worry of having to worry about or worry of choosing between short form or long form scoring. It does all the work for you so you don't have to think in the first place. All right. So anyway, going back to short form scoring, now we're taking away the cards in hand and the cards played points. So this is only bonuses. And if you remember, player 1 and player 4 did not score any bonuses in the game, and both player 2 and player 3 got a 7 to net 13 card run, unnatural, and one of them collected Bukharo and one of them finished. So player 2 and player 3 both got 150 points in bonus. So you can see from these scores, player 2 and player 3 tied. Now, again, it's not the most accurate thing, but we know that because we're not adding up all the points and collecting all the totals like we would have if we had added up the cards in hand and subtracted out the cards remaining. But you get a good idea of who played well and who didn't. Player 4 obviously got the short end of the stick because they did make a lot of sets and runs and they just didn't have enough to get any bonus points. But player 1 did not do so well. If you remember, they only scored 10 points in the first place. And player 2 and player 3 were the two dominant scoring players in the game, with player 3 just having a narrow edge over player 2. So if you're just playing with fun, it's like, hey, okay, we tied, or maybe one of us did a little bit better. You can argue about it. If you really want, you can go to long form scoring to figure out who actually won. But most of all, you're just going to play another game, or you're having fun. So just talk and hang out and enjoy. All right. So this is the end. I think you've got everything you need to know to play Bukharo. If people are really interested, let me know. I can make some extra tutorial slides on team play and the different variations, and we can have more discussions on that. But you don't need that for the tutorial. You now know how to play Bukharo. You now know everything that there is to from starting to finishing a game and calculating the scores, and you have options for, uh, playing on the app or um, getting your friends involved and just enjoying the game. So at this point, go out, have fun. Please keep me posted on how you're enjoying it and let me know if there's anything else you'd like to learn. I'd love to, make more of these videos and just, kind of keep the dialogue open between all of us. Um, there is the app for any of you who are still kind of on the fence of where I can start playing. You can always get your friends together, download the app. It's not a big file and it's free, so please go ahead. For those of you who'd like to read a little bit more, there is a book on Amazon. And if you really enjoyed these videos, please go ahead and send them to friends and family members. That way they can get the instruction, they can learn how to play, and then you have more people to play with. Thank you all one last time for watching these videos. I have one more video that I'll put up a little bit later that just goes through the Play Bukharo app and kind of shows you the ins and outs of how to use that. But for the most part, you have everything you need to know. Please go off and play, have fun, and uh, enjoy. Have a fantastic day.